right, today we have the Coco trimmer. And a lot of people have been talking good about this machine. I wanted to test it out, and I have the official unboxing for you here today and now. It's a brushless motor, so it's just like the Sabers and the brushless motor. It has a 3-hour charge time and a 2-hour run time. Graphite steel blades, and I've heard word on the street that this thing actually will fit a babeless blade, which hopefully we don't have to, because their claim to fame with this is this digital zero gap, which later in the video we're going to get more into that. So here is the machine. It's actually kind of small, feels quite premium, all metal body. It says digital gap. There's a little bit of goo on it, and it looks like it's set super close. So with that being said, I think the digital gap more so applies to the trimmer than the clipper, because I had to zero gap my clipper, and if you guys haven't seen that review, you guys can go ahead and check out that review. But we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna plug this thing in, and we're gonna get this thing going. We're gonna see how it is. Let's see if we get anything else in the box. I don't think we're getting much more than a charger. We are getting a charger. There is no micro USB charging on this, so it looks like it's just a proprietary charger. Plug it in here. This light will blink until it is fully charged, and you are not supposed to turn it on until it's fully charged. When have I ever listened to the rules, you know? And the last thing that comes in this box, which I'm not sure, let's check it out. Okay, so here is your zero gapping tool, which honestly, these look just like babeless blades. You can zero gap it right here from outside without taking it off, which is really cool. We're not gonna zero gap it, I don't wanna do that, but essentially this looks exactly like a babeless blade. In fact, let's get a babeless blade and check it. So here's the zero gapper for the Gold FX. So I can push the blade up, and obviously I could zero gap my Gold FX this way. Will it fit on this? Just a curiosity. Essentially, this digital gap looks like it's some type of a knockoff from the Gold FX blade, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that this is not an original. This is not an original thought here. However, if these things really hit, they hit, and they do have a nice feel, nice body, and 2 hours of runtime. So you know they don't really exceed the runtime of a Gold FX, but let's see how they hit. I'm gonna take off the tape. I'm excited. And I got my little buddy Dom here, and he's down to do a design. So we're gonna see if these things can put some sharp lines or not. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the
YouTube Barber Academy.
And if you guys haven't been paying attention, we just finished up our review on the JRL Onyx clipper. Fantastic clipper. You guys can check that out right here. And also the Coco clipper, which, okay clipper. Today's video, we're going to actually be doing a full review on the Coco trimmer. So I'm gonna talk about what I like, what I don't like, and is it a good enough value for you to possibly purchase this trimmer? Now, you've seen an awful lot of people using this online, and a lot of influencers are starting to use this, so I thought I would pick it up. And we picked this up at the Punta Gorda Barber Expo, which was actually pretty fun. We've seen a lot of people competing, and there was actually a pretty good crowd there. And I bought these with my own money. So, no money changed hands, this is not sponsored, and this is just a purely honest review on the product. So what do we really want out of our trimmers? We want them to be quiet, we want them to hit hard, we want them to run long, we want them to feel good in the hand and ergonomic, and we also probably want to see some different charging options, which many companies are doing. So one thing I want to say about the way I like to do my reviews.
What is this? Evil darkness, black magic.
I've had this product for quite a while. I've probably had it for about 2 months, and I've actually used it extensively. I don't like to crank out a review like the very next day I get it and talk all this stuff about it, and then find out like a few days later that, hey, you know, I really don't like it. No! So I try to give you guys the best information I can. To start out with, let's talk about the things that I like about this. This has an all metal housing, and one thing I do like about it is how slim it is. It reminds me of the Slimline Pro. That size, that shape, that weight, a lot of that stuff kind of feels similar, but the metal housing does feel a little bit better. It has a 2-hour runtime, and it has a brushless motor. However, I don't know what type of brushless motor this has, and now that I've done a lot of product testing, I actually have a suspicion that this is a pretty loud motor because it's in a metal housing, and usually metal housings are quiet, but as you could tell, this thing is actually pretty loud. It actually kind of reminds me of the babeless trimmers. When I pick up a babeless trimmer, a lot of times it sounds okay at first, and in like no time flat, they get kind of loud. You're gonna see digital gap, and there was a lot of rumors flying around like it zero gaps itself, it does this, it does that. I'm here to tell you that none of that's actually true. What they actually mean by digital zero gap, it comes gapped properly from the factory. If you guys could check out this little microscope that Chad has, we actually have the ability to do this ourselves. We can actually look at this and we can see if it's off on one side or the other, or you can see if you have a pretty good set. You can purchase this machine for like $50 on Amazon if you guys wanted to check your tools, and I'll leave a link below. One thing I gotta ask you guys, what is the first thing you usually do when you pick up a new clipper or if you pick up a new trimmer? The first thing I do is I take it apart. I make sure it's gapped right. I make sure I clean off all the factory grease. A lot of times when you first get your machine, you're going to see that there is some factory grease on there. And what that is that's actually a break-in grease. And once you turn it on and let it run for about 30 seconds, it's done its job. And you should clean it off for better performance. There's even been some times where I've turned them on and they smoked. That's no big deal at all. Spray it, put some oil on it, use it, or if you want a more thorough cleaning, take it all the way apart, wipe it down, and then spray it, put some oil on it. And I'm just curious if you guys who watch this channel, is that one of the first things that you guys do or not? So the digital gap for me was more of a curiosity, but not really a concern. I don't need somebody else to zero gap the tools. Let's talk about this blade for a second. This blade is nearly identical to the Babyliss blade. In fact, you can see that I can even use the zero gapping tool on the Babyliss. They zero gap the same way, and by and large, it seems to perform about the same way. And one quick note about the Babyliss trimmer blades that I've been getting lately, they're not that great. The last few Gold FX blades, I've never had any luck with some of the DLC blades. I don't know what it is. How is the performance? And I gotta say, if you're a Babyliss trimmer fan, you're probably going to like the way this cuts. You're probably going to like the way this performs. And as you can see, this thing will make some really nice lines. The 2-hour runtime is definitely a little bit on the low side for a brushless motor. Brushless motors do not have the brushes that traditional rotary motors have in them. They generate less friction, usually have more longevity, and that will normally lead to better battery life. Now we get to the charging options. There is no stand, there is no micro USB support or USB-C support, so you're going to have to travel around with that charger. And this item's coming in at about $160, so for $160, we're really not getting a whole lot. I actually see that this is probably not the best price point for this item. I think at around $120, this would be a real good value proposition. But for instance, there was plenty of people selling the Sabers for around $175. The Saber is currently selling at $194. So even at $194 for the Saber, that's about $34 more. And I think for me, having twice as much battery life, having multiple different charging options, and having a quieter and longer running motor, I think the $34 is definitely worth the cost of that. Just for this thing standing on its own, being their first trimmer, possibly, I don't really know if that's true, but this is the first trimmer that I've ever used from them. I would say for a very first time out of the box, this is a pretty good experience and a pretty good trimmer. Do you guys use the Coco trimmers? What do you guys think about them? Leave the comment down below. And you know, YouTube kind of hates me, so if you guys could do me a favor, throw me a thumbs up, throw me a subscribe, and drop me a comment, that would be greatly appreciated, because doing content like this, it takes a while to do, it's difficult, and I appreciate your support. So for now, I'm gonna leave it here. You guys can go ahead and check out the Coco Clipper and the JRL Onyx review, and I will catch you guys in the next video. This is the YouTube Barber Academy. I'm Mr. D Barber, and I'm out of here. Peace.